So talcum powder, you've got a fair bit of working time. You can see this has been what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it's still perfectly workable. So I've run that all around that join there. What I'm going to do is run a bit more along the actual join line of the two halves of the cowling there. Okay, let's flick it over and run it along the top. I'm going to have to refer to some of my other Edward Hellcat kits that are still in their boxes when I come to restore the detail. Super glue is really starting to set up now. It's been there for a minute or two. It's been on that. It's been on the masking tape there for a minute or two. So yeah, it's starting to set up. It's becoming slightly thicker. Not a problem because I've, as you can see, done everything I needed to do. So taking some of this this plastic friendly accelerator I have, I'm just going to run it round the join line there. Okay. You can see it starting to set because some areas of it are going white. Give that a minute or two to set. What I'm going to do is discard these cocktail sticks and that bit of super glue. So there you go. There's how to make yourself some black gap filling super glue very quickly. I'll take a bit of just brush that off just to make sure the remainder of the accelerator is off, and there you have it. There's the cowling assembled and filled. A lot more work than I was initially expecting, to be honest, because I thought I was expecting a flawless fit and didn't get it. So now it's time. That's all set. I can sand now. I use various different sanding sticks. I've got many different sanding sticks. There's quite a lot of material is going to have to be removed around this cowling ring, so I'm going to use a fairly coarse sanding stick to start with. So don't worry about your detail. You're going to lose detail. You're going to have to restore it. Resign yourself to that before you start, and it makes it far easier to do this kind of quite rough work. I'm using a very coarse sanding stick here, okay, but as you can see, basically the bulk of the sanding work is done very quickly indeed. Getting around there now. I guess if nothing else, this gives a lie to the idea that any given modelling operation needs to take endless amounts of time. As you can see, I had a fairly serious problem with this cowling, straight from the box, and with a little bit of brute force, a little bit of forward planning, in a little more than 15 or 20 minutes, I'm sure you'll agree. That's it. Basically, all the rough sanding is done. I'll go to one of my finer sanding sticks now. Just go over all the same areas with the finer sanding stick. Okay, all the same areas, because you're going to get a lot if you use very rough sanding sticks like I've done. I tend to be a bit of a butcher. I deal with stuff after the event, if you like, scratches and all the like. So you're going to have to progressively get finer and finer. But I don't see the point in spending hours sanding away with a fine sanding stick when 5 or 6 swipes of the very rough one will get you to the same spot in a tenth of the time. So there we go. It's really difficult, this, isn't it? It's really rocket science. What I'm going to do is switch to a couple of the Mastercaster's foam backed sanding sticks. Okay, I like to use these wet, so a cup of water here. Okay, dip it in the water. Okay, and again start sanding away. Start sanding to cover all the areas, hopefully catching all the scratches that you've caused with, you know, your previous, or my, I should say, previous butchery with the very rough sanding sticks. Okay. The other thing about doing this wet is it does allow you to see where you may need to go back and cover with one of the rougher sanding sticks again. I can see a little area here where it's not perfectly level. I can see the super glue. So another bit of work with the very rough sanding stick. Okay. Now, as far as I can see, I've covered all of the areas I previously attacked with a rough sanding stick. Have now been hit with the orange Mastercaster's excuse me, with the orange Mastercaster stick. So I'm going to move to the blue. The blue is reasonably fine. It's not the finest one. I think it's the second to finest in this range. For what I want to achieve at this point, that is pretty much as fine as I'm going to go. Okay, it does give a reasonably shiny finish. Not highly polished. You'd certainly be going finer than this if you were going to be using, if you're going to be doing a natural metal aircraft or something like that. You'd certainly want to be going finer. But there are further sanding operations to be done on this one. I've restored the detail that I've lost, almost inevitably by the amount of sanding that I've had to do on this disappointingly fitting cowl. Okay, so there. Okay, I think you'll agree, for a cowling which was quite obviously an exceedingly poor and warped fit not very many minutes ago. I hope I've shown you how to deal with minor problems like that. You can see the line of the black super glue that I created. You can see where it's filled, where it hasn't. It makes it very visible. Yet there's a very fine hairline down the join there, showing that all the forcing of the parts into place did create a natural V in the join there, which had to be filled with something. And my black super glue was it. There you go. There's the cowling. I'll just do another quick check fit to see how it goes together. Make sure no joints pop or anything like that. There you go. There's one Hellcat cowling assembled and sanded. Some work clearly still to be done in terms of restoring the panel detail. But for now, that's an initial introduction to the way I tend to fill and sand and deal with minor, very minor really, construction problems with kits of this nature. And I hope you've learned something about the making your own coloured superglue. Until next time, when I suspect I may well be actually doing something to the interior. I hope you enjoyed this little insight into how I model. Thank you.